Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we're checking out something very different. This is the Tyrannosaurus Rex model kit here, 1/35 scale model kit from X Plus. So this is a part of X Plus's line of Jurassic Park model kits that they're making. They have the T-Rex. This is the first one, and then their Spinosaurus from Jurassic Park 3 also came out, and I think they're also making one of Blue and Beta from Jurassic World 2, I believe. So if you guys are into plastic model kits of dinosaurs, this is one that is going to be really cool. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys the box and all of its contents, and then I'll show you the initial buildup of the kit, and I'll share with you my thoughts of how the kit goes together and my opinions on the kit. As far as the actual painting of the kit, that we'll cover in a future video later on. I'm not going to be painting it right away, but at least in today's video, we'll talk some about the kit. Let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so first order of business is just going to be removing this plastic wrap here, just so we can see everything a little bit easier if I can get rid of that. And all right, so here we have a photo of the fully painted kit there for the front with the Jurassic Park logo and everything. You can see it's the scene from Jurassic Park where the Rex is chasing Malcolm holding the flare. And at the bottom there, you can see a couple of smaller images of the kit from different angles. And I'll just say, I love the boxes for these X Plus kits because they're just very kind of interestingly shaped. They're a little bit kind of longer and also a quite like heavy duty box. The cardboard feels much more substantial than your average Bandai or Kotobukiya model kits. So here's just a look around the sides of the box. There's not really too much else here, just the same images. So let's go ahead and pop this open and we'll take a look at all of our contents here. Something just fell out. Interesting, what fell out of there was some wire. So this is, I guess, wire for the wires on the electrical fence there in the background. You have some included wire there for that. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I hadn't really thought too much about that. I just kind of assumed that it was just a plastic part, but for like wire details like that, using actual wire certainly makes a lot more sense than trying to have that in just plastic. So all right, here is our instruction manual, which is pretty simple. It's not in color at all, so it's just going to be very straightforward here. Also interesting to note that everything is all in English here. So for example, figure 1 is the construction of the head there. And yeah, it's very detailed instructions there in English. I mean, I'm sure you could just look at the illustration there, but in case you want it in like extreme detail, all the text there is for you as well. So here's like assembling the legs, assembling the tail, assembling the arms, assembling the Rex, completing the assembly over here. And it looks like we have some options. So we have like the scene of what's on the box art with the Rex running in front of the electric fence. There is, it looks like, another option for just a simple base for the Rex itself. So you don't have like the whole entire scene. So that's kind of cool as an option. On the backside here is a Mr. DNA. Check out the backside for instructions. That's for the side that we already looked at, I guess. But here's a front view, and this is going to be our painting guide. So it tells you which colors, like gray for the fence, light peach for the skin, gray for that part, brown, blue, orange. Not necessarily like super detailed coloring information, but over here is a pro tip for painting the eyes: burnt umber, burnt sienna, yellow ochre, ivory, and black there for getting the eyes to look that way. And then here it is. You got to keep an eye out for these kits too. Like I said, there's the Blue and Beta kit and the Spinosaurus kits that are also out or coming out. Right, so let's take a look at the parts here. Here is that large base plate. So you can see this is the track for the car, the footprints of the Rex in there, and it looks like pretty interesting how you have this like ground detail, but then you have this flat space. I'm guessing that flat space is supposed to be there to simulate puddles. So if you have standing water, it would just kind of appear flat. Actually, I guess if you really want to get into the real nerdy Jurassic Park side of things, it would be cool if that water actually had the ripples in there from the T-Rex walking. But here's the concrete base of the electric fence with like a palm frond there on that, kind of molded in. So some cool molded detail there. And you've got the main pieces for the top of the Rex head and also the bottom jaw as single pieces here like this, which is pretty cool. So that means you won't have a mold line down the middle of the head that you have to worry about getting rid of. So that's really nice. And again, really nice detail on here. This being a 1/35 scale, it is going to not be incredibly huge, but a pretty good size that you have plenty of space for a lot of really nice detail on there. As for the rest of our runners, here is one of the runners with some parts for the sides of the legs. Again, a lot of great surface detail there for the skin of the Rex. This runner has the interior parts for the body, so obviously no surface detail here. This is just going to be basically the core that we're going to plug everything else onto, the two halves of that. A couple a little bit smaller runners here. Looks like mostly parts for the tail, and there's that one kind of single small base plate if you want to use that. Some more smaller detail parts like the teeth and the tongue for inside the mouth. A couple of other bits there around on the body. Here are some of the parts for the sides of the torso and also the main parts right behind the legs the base of the tail there. Then on this runner, we've got our Jurassic Park logo for the front of the base and some more parts for the tail and the underside of the Rex. And our last two runners here have our parts for Malcolm. You can see it looks like he is going to be molded in a couple of parts. One part for the main mass of his body and legs and the one arm, and then I think the head is going to be over here and the other arm will be separate right over there. Here we have parts for the Rex's arms, the Rex's toes, and a few other little detail parts, including these parts for the electrical fence that are going to hold the wires. So you got those on there, and again here more of the smaller detailed parts of the Rex and for the electrical fence all right there. So very interesting, and certainly takes me back because the first ever model kit that I really remember ever working on ever was actually the original Jurassic Park Tyrannosaurus Rex kit with my dad, and we kind of built that and painted it together. He did most of the painting really, but I was very young at the time, but this is certainly very nostalgic and kind of really reminds me of that. So it'll be really interesting putting this together. Let me go ahead and do that, and then we'll see how the kit is gonna look. All right, so I've got the kit all just put together, and we'll take a look at it in sections here, of course, starting off with the star of the show, Rexy. Here is how the initial build-up is just going to look. Now, everything's just glued. I haven't done any kind of more additional seam line removal or sanding or anything like that, because I wanted to show you guys kind of exactly what to expect if you are planning on getting the kit. So from tail to snout, it's about 38 centimeters in length overall. And the detail on it is really nice. The construction was pretty straightforward. As you can see, as you'll maybe see around here and there are going to be a couple of gaps in the seams between the parts. Some parts are pretty seamless. Right here there's a seam that you can't really see, and it's a lot of that's just due because of the shine of the glue. Probably once I spray primer on that I might notice a little bit more of a line there, but there is going to be a couple of seams here and there that some of that stuff will just kind of disappear with the primer. Some will be more apparent with the primer, like this is two halves put together here for this section of the tail, and then there's going to be a little seam on the top. I'm probably going to want to sand that down a little bit. The tail is basically in three sections. One section here where it's two side pieces and a bottom piece, the middle section where it's also two side pieces and a bottom piece, and then the third section where it's two side pieces and a bottom piece. Actually, I should count that the base of the tail is actually a part of the body construction anyway, and then the tip of the tail is just a single piece in there, so you will have some seams throughout. Here on the legs as well, there's a seam kind of right here around the ankle, and then between the toes, again, kind of going to be a little bit harder to see, which is good. You don't want that to be visible, but just for illustration purposes, just to point out where these are to you guys. And then as far as mold lines as well, some mold lines here and there, especially like on the legs and on the toes, for example. Those I did sand away a little bit, and so that's why it's very glossy here on the toe section, just because I sanded down the mold lines that were here on going across the toes, and then just put some glue on there as well. The only section that I really kind of had any trouble with was here in the mouth. There's a part that goes in for the bottom of the lower jaw. That pushing that part in, it didn't quite fit in well. It ended up actually cracking this part for the lower half of the mouth. If you remember, that was just like one solid piece here for the lower jaw and kind of bottom of the neck. So that will need to be filled in. I'll have to fill that in with putty, and that won't be too big of a deal. For the most part, there's going to be a little bit more sanding, a little bit of putty work to do on this just to get everything all closed up and looking good. I'll have to give it a test spray with some primer also, just to look for any other seam lines or mold lines that I may want to fix up before getting into painting this guy. But overall, I think it's a pretty good fit overall. The construction was pretty straightforward. I basically put this all together just over the course of a couple hours, just kind of taking my time with it. And then we have this part down here for the foot, just to try this standing not on the main base, but that works pretty well to hold up the kit. It's definitely going to be front heavy with that big head, I mean, just kind of as the T-Rex is, but this piece works well enough to hold the kit up. Now on the other base here, we'll take a look at that as well. But first off, here is our Malcolm figure as well, which, as you remember from the runners or the instructions we saw, it's just a couple of parts. You have the one main piece, the head and the arm are separate. But this one, also just because of the nature of where the seam is, like on the shoulder, that seam line is going to blend in pretty well with the shirt, and then the neck is also just going to be kind of fine there. So this one should be pretty easy. There's a little bit of mold line going down like the sides that you may want to just sand that down a little bit. But otherwise, this one looks pretty good. And then also, just kind of before putting everything together, here is our piece for the kind of Jurassic Park logo plate. So this is a piece which I'm kind of glad was kept as a separate piece like this and not molded together with the base, just because this makes it easier to just kind of work on this as a separate part, and then you just simply plug it onto the main base plate there like that. So I've not yet put the wires on, but here's the parts for the electric fence. Our Malcolm figure plugs into this little hole right here, just on there like that. And then Rexy in here, it's not quite as tight as on the small base, so I might want to put a little tack in this for the moment. I'm not going to glue this in place until everything's all painted, but for the time being, it's going to hold there. But like I said, it is definitely going to be a little bit front heavy. So there we go. There's how the set is going to look. I really like the composition of this. It's really cool. One other quick thing I wanted to show you guys here too is a size comparison with the also 1/35 scale Brachiosaurus model kit from Tamiya. As you can see, it does look pretty size accurate, I think, as far as I understand anyway, but the Brachiosaurus, I mean, it just goes to show how huge the Brachiosaurus model kit is in comparison here to our Rexy. But anyway, guys, that's it for just taking a look here at the initial buildup of the Tyrannosaurus Rex kit from X Plus. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. What do you think about the kit so far? It looks really cool. Like I said, I love the composition of this. The scene, of course, just very iconic, and it's going to make for a really awesome looking display piece once everything's all done up. But I hope this video was interesting and informative for any of you all who are interested in dinosaur models. If you're a fan of Jurassic Park or just looking for something a little bit different to work on, this is something I could definitely recommend to you guys, as it's a nice kit and it's always nice to just have some variety too. So I'm glad that there's a company out there that's making model kits like this. And on that note, I did also get the Spinosaurus model kit from X Plus as well, which we'll be taking a look at in a future video. So make sure to stay tuned for that. If you guys want to check out this model kit or some more awesome model kits for yourself, you can check the link in the video description to USA Gundam Store. We got all sorts of great stuff there for you guys to check out. Not only model kits, but also tools, paints, and supplies as well. So check out the website there. And if you guys do have any other further questions or comments about this model kit, do let me know in the comment section. If you guys have any tips or advice or interesting ideas you'd like to share regarding the future painting of this kit, let me know in the comment section. And if you enjoyed the video, of course, leave a like. Make sure that you're subscribed to stay tuned for more in the future. But for now, guys, thank you so much for checking out the video. Till next time, hope y'all have a great day. See you guys.